Meditation's coming very soon. I just need to get YouTube. Yeah, there we go. A bit off center. Okay, great. Time for, how are you? How's it going? Are you well? You having a good day? I'm having a slightly technical day with all this stuff, but good now. I hope your day is going well. It's fine if it's not. Not every day is great, but I hope it's going well. We're going to do a bit of meditation now. This isn't a class, it's a chance to meditate together. It's part of the further emergence work I do. I'll explain about further emergence after we're finished the meditation. So if you're used to meditating, if you're an experienced meditator, that's great. If you could just hang on for a minute while I explain what I do, just for the benefit of people who are new to meditation. There's lots of different styles of meditation. This is what I do. For me, it starts with why I would meditate. I'm trying to connect with a part of me that I connect with every night when I go to sleep. Not the dreaming bit, but the bit after dreaming. So I'm dreaming, and then I drop out the bottom of dreaming into deep dreamless sleep, where I have no thoughts, no memories, no feelings, no emotions, no personality. I don't really have a body that I'm aware of. I don't have a house or a country or nothing. I don't even have me, because I cease to exist, certainly in the way that I normally register my existence, which sounds terrible, doesn't it? I mean, that sounds like death. And yet, I love going to sleep. And when I wake up in the morning, I feel refreshed. So some part of me knows that wherever I go in deep dreamless sleep is good. And that's where I want to go to when I meditate. But I just want to do it consciously. So straight away, if you're new to meditation, don't try this lying down, because you'll fall asleep. And if you don't fall asleep, you'll battle sleep, which is difficult as well. So, as I say, I've got no thoughts in this place. So it's like my mind can't really get to this place. It's like it almost has to wait outside the door while I go in. So I have to figure a way of working with my mind so that I like to think of it as parting the curtains of my mind so I can get into this place. So I make an arrangement with my mind. I say, can you just not think for the next 15 minutes while we meditate? And at this stage, my mind is on board for the whole thing. So it's like, yep, fine, that's grand. It wasn't always like that. And if you're new to meditation, if this is the first time, then it'll be exciting to your mind, so you won't have any problems with it. Those kind of resistances come down the track a little bit when it gets a bit boring for your mind. So to stop thinking is not that hard, because regardless of what I'm thinking about, which would be the content of my thoughts, the structure of my thoughts is always the same. It's always pictures and sound. So if I turn off the pictures and I turn off the sound, that's it. I'm not thinking. And as soon as I do that, I'm into the practice of meditation. And the practice of meditation runs parallel to the intention of meditation. So the intention of my meditation is to go to this place that I was talking about. Deep, still, calm, possibly eternal, Zen-like, all the words that are used to describe meditation. That's the intention of my meditation. The practice of meditation runs parallel with it. It pretty much starts as soon as I stop thinking. And it goes, I'll stop thinking, so I'll turn off the pictures and I'll turn off the sound. I'll bring my mind to not thinking. Then some time will pass and I'll discover that I'm thinking again. I'll go, oh, I'm thinking again, okay. Turn off the pictures, turn off the sound. I'll bring my mind back to not thinking. Then some more time will pass. I'll discover I'm thinking again. I'll go, oh, I'm thinking again. Turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring my mind back to not thinking. And some more time will pass. I'll discover I'm thinking again, and so on. That's it. Very simple. Just every time I discover that I'm thinking, I bring my mind back to not thinking. And it's important to know that thinking can happen in meditation, because it's easy to get the misconception that to meditate correctly, you can't be thinking at all, which isn't the case. It's a sort of a dance between these two things. Sometimes you'll be very still and deep and, in that what's just, the way meditation is normally described. And then other times you'll be discovering that you're thinking. And both are powerful. They're equally as powerful. It's kind of obviously powerful when you're in that deep, still, calm, beautiful place, because you can feel it in your body, your nervous system calms down. But it's also powerful when you are discovering that you're thinking. But the power is not so obvious, because what happens is, if you're like me, the sort of things you think about are all to do with yourself. So I'll be thinking, what am I going to do about that thing? Why did I say that to that person? Why did that person say that thing to me, or whatever, right? So I'm in the middle of meditation, and I discover I'm thinking. It's one of those thoughts, and I go up thinking, turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. Indirectly, what I'm saying to myself is, that thought that you were just having, that you thought was you and that you were it? Well, you just got rid of that thought. So you're obviously not that thought, because you're still here. In fact, you're not any of your thoughts. You're something else. Well, that's very powerful. And then the fact that you do that repeatedly, that's very powerful as well. So the main thing is not to add to your thinking by thinking that you're thinking too much, or thinking that you're doing it wrong, or you're meditating wrong, or that you're bringing your mind back to not thinking too many times, because that changes from day to day. It even changes from hour to hour, because you could meditate in the morning and you have to bring your mind back from thinking lots of times, and then you can meditate in the afternoon and you wouldn't have to do it half as much, and neither is more correct. So just don't get that into your head. Just the main thing is, every time you discover that you're thinking, bring yourself back to not thinking. If you do that, you're doing great. You're doing fine. Now, while all that's going on, I'm also letting go of tension in my body, or I'm bringing my awareness to my body and tension in it. So I'm scanning my body from my head down to my feet and back up again, very slowly. And anywhere I find tension, I let it go, and I use my out breath to let it go. And I do that because it's a very natural way of just feels very natural to breathe tension away. But it's also very good for bringing my awareness to my breathing, because it's quite easy to stop breathing or to hold your breath during meditation. So using the out breath is a good way of just bringing a bit more awareness to my breathing. Also, as I'm scanning my body, I'm paying particular attention, or a little bit more attention, to areas, structures in my body that go across my body. Mostly my body runs longitudinally, head to feet. But any structure that goes across my body can operate a little bit like a log going across the stream. It can pick up the leaves and the twigs and the branches coming down the stream. Except in my body, it's not leaves and branches, it's tension. So I'm just paying a little bit more attention to my eyes, for example. That's a transverse site. My jaw, my tongue, the base of my neck, my shoulder girdle, all my joints, because they are transverse sites as well. So my shoulder, elbow, wrist, fingers, my heart area, my respiratory diaphragm, all my intestines, my pelvic floor, my hips, my knees, my ankles, and my toes. Having a nice quiet room is very helpful when you're meditating, starting out, because one of the things that triggers thoughts is noise, and when you close your eyes, your hearing amplifies. So the quieter the room, the best chance you'll be giving your mind to have less to think about. And then the other thing I do to help my mind have less things to think about is I set a timer for how long I meditate for. So I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes. But if you're new to meditation, I'd encourage you to set yours for shorter. Set it for like 5 minutes and then repeat that 3 times, because 15 minutes is a long time if you're not used to it. All right, off we go then into the mystery. Just let me set my alarm timer. Okay. Okay, if you feel like you've gone very deeply inside, then take a minute to come back from there before you open your eyes. Or if you feel like you can hold the inner space and the outer space at the same time, then just open your eyes. And if when you do that you feel like you've lost contact with the inner space, you can just close your eyes again. Oh yeah, there it is. Open them again. No, lost it again. Close them again. You can use your eyes like a valve to balance the inner space and the outer space. So as I said at the beginning, these daily meditations are part of the further emergence work I do. Further emergence has to do with growth, but specifically inner growth, growth in consciousness, growth in awareness, you could call it spiritual growth, that kind of growth. Because your body stops growing when you're an adult. You're a child and you're an adolescent and you're an adult. Your body sort of stops when you're an adult. But you keep growing on the inside. That doesn't stop. You only have to think back to who you were 10 years ago to see, oh yeah, it keeps going. And just like when you were a child, you might have gone through a period of accelerated growth. They're called growth spurts, kids. You go through growth spurts on the inside as well. And they continue for your whole life. And it's those growth spurts, that's what inner growth spurts, that's what further emergence is about. Because, when you were a child and you might have been going through a growth spurt and you had growing pains, you weren't brought to hospital, you weren't brought to the doctor. Your parents would have just went, oh, they're growing pains, they'll pass. But when you're going through an inner growth spurt, it's not so easy to recognize it for what it is. And you can feel like there's something wrong, or that you're broken in some way, or that it's not natural. Whereas it is a naturally occurring process, but it can be very difficult. There can be inner growing pains. It can be very disorienting. You can feel quite lonely. Nobody understands. You can have all sorts of ways that it can present itself. You can feel like you're going very fast on the inside and outside is going very slow. You can feel like your life doesn't fit you anymore. You don't recognize it. You don't recognize how you fit into it. As I say, lonely. People don't seem to get you in the way they used to. You don't get other people. And lots of other things as well. So these meditations help because being more familiar with your inner space helps you navigate these inner growth spurts. So that's what the meditations are about. Then there's a Zoom group every week. And that's a chance to meditate a little bit more deeply, and there's questions and answers, and you get to see, oh yeah, there's other people. There are other people going through the same thing I'm going through. I'm not on my own with this. So that's very helpful as well. And the video of those Zoom groups will be on the feed of whatever channel you're looking at this meditation on. So you can have a look at them, see what they're like. You're very welcome to come along to one. You'll find the link to the Zoom group on furtheremergence.com. Just look for Zoom groups and you'll find it. And they're open to everyone. Then the audio from the Zoom groups as well, that's available in a podcast. Some people like podcasts more than looking at things, so that's there as well. And then I work with people one-to-one as well. That's where it's kind of I think of it as like behind the scenes and in front of the scenes kind of work. The in front of the scenes part is talking through it, and then behind the scenes is where the person lies down and I do distance education. No, not distance education. Distance energetic work with their system to help with the process that they're going through. There's also books. I've got 4 books all around the kind of area of further emergence, so they can be helpful to read them as well. So yeah, if you've listened, if you're still with me all the way to this point, maybe something is resonating with you, something's ringing a bell. So yeah, follow along on whatever channel you're looking at this on, or go and have a look at the website, or just come along to some more meditations. So thanks very much for meditation. Thanks very much for meditating with me, and see you tomorrow.